really proud this year to honor our industry icons, and it's a big deal for us. The people that have shaped and molded this industry to what it is, some of those people are being honored today. We're very proud of that. This year we're in recognizing industry icons, we're starting with a special reveal. And basically what the reveal is it's a 1954 Divco delivery milk truck. Interesting story behind it, which I'll kind of give you some background on. The truck is owned by Robert Kwiatkowski, who's the owner of FBS Distribution. The vehicle sat in a farmer's field in Alberta, Canada for about 30 years. A shop up in Canada, Just Cause Kustoms, resurrected the milk truck, customized it, and it was actually debuted here in 2014 at the Sema show with an entirely different paint job on it. So we'll fast forward to 2017. So while visiting John in his shop in Minneapolis, I noticed a picture on the wall. And what the picture on the wall was, it was a rendering that Dave Bell, the famous hot rod cartoonist, known for his Henry High Rise feature in Street Rodder magazine for many years, very well-renowned custom hot rod cartoonist, did the posters for the GNRS, did a lot of great stuff in our industry. Unfortunately, Mr. Bell passed away in 2012, but we'd still like to honor him with this paint job. I mentioned to John when I saw the rendering, I asked him when the rendering was done, and he said it was actually done in 1968 and given to John, and John had on his wall all those years. And I immediately thought of Robert's Divco. Although the rendering was actually of an Anglia panel, it looked like the Divco. So I said to John, what do you think if we approached the owner of the Divco, who we both know, and asked him what he would think of honoring Dave Bell with this paint job. Of course, Robert agreed, and the puzzle began to come together. Fast forward again, Ryan Evans and Mike from Counts Customs were in Minneapolis, brought them over to the shop, showed them the picture on the wall, and I could just see the glow in Ryan's eyes. He was really digging on it, and he said that he would be honored to take the lead on this paint job. So since Ryan was the lead on this and made this paint job what it is, I'm going to hand the microphone over to him. I'm going to let him talk a little bit about it and unveil it with the team. And after the unveil, I'd encourage you to stay here because we're going to honor the other industry icons that are among us. So without further ado, I'll hand the microphone to Ryan Evans from Counts Customs.
How's everybody doing? Yeah, like Craig said, when he first showed me the rendering that Dave Bell did, it really blew me away. Number one, it wasn't my rendition of the late 60s style. Here was the blueprint from the man himself. The styling points behind it were, they're something you can't get today unless you live through that. So as soon as I saw the rendering and Craig told me about the Divco, honestly, I didn't expect to be doing it, but I think the words out of my mouth were just that. It would blow me away, and I'd be honored if I were able to put that paint job on the Divco. And that's when Craig sprung it on me that, you think you want to do it? I say, hell yeah, I want to do it. Well, it sounds like a done deal to me. So basically what I did is took Bell's drawing, applied it to the Divco, and all the styling points just kept growing. I started doing research and doing research on the retro styling points of the late 60s and early 70s, and the thing just kept growing and growing and growing. It actually grew into something that you literally couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I kept adding and adding and adding because those were the styling points that they did back then. So basically the paint job came together. The team at Counts Customs kicked ass on this thing. The previous paint job on it was actually gorgeous. The work was done fabulous. I didn't have to strip this thing with a razor blade, and that was awesome. And again, like Craig said, the pieces of the puzzle just kept falling in place. Nothing got pushed. This thing literally just grew into what it is now, and it's stunning to me, and it's an honor for me to be able to do it, and even more so in front of all my heroes here today. I mean, Kosmowski, Gene Winfield, are you kidding me? These are the guys that are responsible for me doing this. With that being said, I'd love to show everybody.
So as you can see, it's hard to describe in words what the cartoon rendering, how it came to life in actual House of Color paint job. I'm going to give the microphone back to Ryan so he can tell us a little bit about the work that he did on it and the team.
Once I started on this thing, the ideas, a lot of the artists here, they can understand this. Once you get a start on it, the ideas just start pouring out of you. In the beginning, you don't really know exactly what you're going to do until you start. But being that this vehicle was going to represent John Kosmowski and House of Color and all the artists from the past and still the present, I wanted this to represent a color palette, specifically House of Colors. I wanted it to be something that I would drive around if I owned a House of Color jobber store. Rather than, actually John told me a story about his first color charts. And sadly, you know, him and the family at the dining room table, they were putting these color charts together. Later on, after his first show with his color palettes, he noticed they were blowing around in the parking lot. So that being in mind, rather than have a bunch of color charts that people are going to throw away in the parking lot, why not have a rolling palette? All the pearls that House of Color offers, all the pinstriping colors, the flakes, everything basically thrown onto one vehicle in kind of a controlled chaos. And that was the premise once I started on this, just make it a rolling palette. Yeah, I know. Thank you. And outside of that's basically what you see is what you get. I'm very proud of it. The House of Color team really kicked in and did a hell of a job on this thing. They all bared with me because, like I said, I didn't want to stop, and every one of them said, look man, you need to stop. But it was just that much fun. I say keep going, I know. But yeah, this was a pleasure and an honor, and I hope everybody likes it. Thank you.
Thanks Ryan, Lonnie, Ron Fleener, Mike Taylor, of course John Kosmowski, and Robert Kwiatkowski, the owner of the vehicle, for allowing us to do this to his Divco. I'd invite people after the press conference to please take a closer look. If you look at the interior, we've got some panels that are done in there that will be lit up, and it's really it's a pretty neat spectacle and a great representation to honor Dave Bell. So at this time, I'm going to ask if we could clear this area out right here and just have Gene Winfield, John Kosmowski, and Daryl Starbird standing in this area facing forward. Right back. So this is where I have to refer to my notes. So again, as I said, the line and drag lines. People have achieved and worked together inspired by us, and not only cool stuff, but so what we did this year is we approached this with the icons. Daryl Starbird, Winfield, Secondly, we have a color that the infield works with Taylor on, and we're calling it Purple Lean. It's a holy vibrant purple inside of green. Everybody knows green. Gene's been pretty impressive work since returning from the war. Been doing it for a lot of years. He's television. 1947. So I didn't capture that in my notes, but Gene's been at it for a long time. He's still a hard-working guy at his shop in Mojave. So he's still building projects, and we appreciate his contribution. Nathan Curry prepared a pin for Gene, and Nathan did an outstanding job. And of course, it has the Winfield fade on it. Got to have the fade, and his purple signature purple.